Many people spend weeks or even months looking for the right hair transplant clinic, but many underestimate one crucial factor: proper preparation. The truth is, a successful hair transplant doesn't begin in the operating room, it starts in the days and even weeks before your procedure. Hi, I'm Clemens, better known as the hair transplant coach. For many years I have been helping patients through their hair transplant journey right here in Istanbul. In this video I'll show you step by step how to prepare properly for your hair transplant, from the medical side to practical travel tips. Let's start with the most important part: your health. Several weeks before your procedure, you should inform your clinic about all medications you take on a regular basis. This includes prescription medication, over-the-counter painkillers and dietary supplements. Certain medications can affect blood clotting, which may lead to increased bleeding during surgery. That makes it more difficult for the surgeon to work precisely and can unnecessarily complicate the procedure. That's why many clinics recommend stopping blood-thinning medications such as aspirin well before your surgery. However, one important point: never stop prescribed medications on your own. Always speak with your treating physician first. Dietary supplements are often underestimated as well. High doses of supplements such as vitamin E may also affect blood clotting. The bottom line is, always let your clinic know about everything you take on a regular basis. Another important topic is minoxidil. Most doctors recommend stopping minoxidil around 10 to 14 days before surgery, as it increases blood flow to the scalp. DHT blockers such as finasteride or dutasteride can usually be continued as normal. Again, simply make sure your doctor is aware that you're taking them. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, thyroid disease, allergies or any other chronic medical condition, that's usually not a problem. The important thing is that your medical team knows about it in advance so they can plan your treatments accordingly. Now let's talk about your lifestyle in the days leading up to your procedure. You should avoid alcohol for at least a few days before your hair transplant. Alcohol deletes your blood vessels and may lead to increased bleeding during surgery. If you smoke, it's a good idea to cut it down significantly, or ideally stop completely for a few days or even 1 to 2 weeks before your procedure. Nicotine constricts your blood vessels and reduces blood flow to the scalp. But over the years I have worked with many heavy smokers who still achieved excellent results. So smoking certainly doesn't mean you'll automatically have a poor outcome. That being said, the better your blood circulation, the better conditions for proper healing. Normal exercise is perfectly fine until a few days before surgery. However, the day before your procedure, you should avoid heavy weight training, marathon running or any other intense physical activity. Your body should be well rested and relaxed before surgery. You should also avoid getting sunburn on your scalp shortly before your procedure. A badly irritated or sunburned scalp is simply not an ideal starting point for a hair transplant. What should you pack for your trip? There are also a few things you should pack to make your first few days as comfortable as possible. The most important thing is your clothing. On the day of a surgery and during the first few days afterwards, only wear tops that can either be opened at the front or have a very wide neck opening. I recommend shirts, t-shirts with a wide neckline, or jackets, sweaters with a zipper. On the other hand, pullovers or tight t-shirts that have to be pulled over your head are an absolute no-go. Otherwise, you would risk your freshly implanted grafts. From my own experience, I can tell you this isn't just a theoretical recommendation. Even though we send every patient written instructions beforehand, I regularly see patients arriving at the clinic on the day of surgery wearing a tight t-shirt and pullover. So I would really like to encourage you to follow this advice. You may also wear some comfortable trousers on the day of surgery. A loose pair of sweatpants or athletic pants is usually my recommendation. A travel neck pillow is another item that I consider essential. It makes your flight home much more comfortable and is almost indispensable during the first few nights after your transplant. It helps you keep your head elevated, reduce swelling and avoid unnecessary contact with your freshly transplanted grafts. Bringing a companion for your hair transplant is completely optional. In fact, around 80% of my patients travel to Istanbul on their own. Throughout your entire stay, my team and I will be here in Istanbul if you need any kind of assistance. Of course, if you feel more comfortable traveling with someone, you're more than welcome to do so. Just let your clinic know in advance so they can arrange the hotel and everything else accordingly. After your procedure, the vast majority of clinics, including my partner clinics, will provide all the essential care products and medications you will need for the first few days free of charge. This usually includes a special shampoo, care foam or a lotion, as well as the necessary medications such as antibiotics and painkillers. So in most cases, you don't need to bring or buy any of the products yourself before traveling. If you're traveling with hand luggage only, there's one thing you should keep in mind. The care products are usually larger than 100 milliliters. However, based on my experience, security staff at Istanbul airport are often quite understanding when it comes to patients who have just had surgery. In addition, my partner clinics can provide an official letter confirming that these products are required for post-operative care. In my experience, taking them in your hand luggage works without any problems in the vast majority of cases. Please don't shave your hair yourself. This is a mistake I see time and time again. Some patients shave their head at home or cut their hair extremely short before traveling. Please don't do that. Before your procedure, the surgeon needs to be able to assess your hair properly. They need to see your hair characteristics, the extent of your hair loss, as well as the natural directions and angles of your hair growth. Only then they can plan your new hairline properly and assess the donor area realistically. So simply leave your hair exactly as it is. Your medical team will take care of the shaving immediately before your procedure. On the day of your surgery, you should have a normal breakfast, unless your clinic has given you different instructions. Because of the local anesthetic and the fact that the procedure takes several hours, having an empty stomach may increase the risk of feeling lightheaded or a little dizzy. However, you should avoid coffee, energy drinks, or any other caffeinated beverages that morning, as the caffeine may increase your blood pressure. Instead, make sure you drink plenty of water. During your hair transplants, you'll of course be provided with drinks and lunch. On the day of your procedure, please don't use any styling products, hair fibers or something similar. Your scalp should be as clean as possible. One more practical tip: leave unnecessary valuables such as jewelry at your hotel or at home whenever possible. That way you won't have to think about them during the procedure and can focus entirely on your hair transplant. One question that comes up again and again in online forums and the patient inquiries is, how do you pass the time during a procedure that lasts like 6 to 9 hours? Since you'll be laying down and relaxing for most of the procedure, you can simply use your phone, listen to music or enjoy a podcast. One important recommendation: use only in-ear headphones. Watching movies is honestly quite difficult because your position changes throughout the procedure. If you're feeling nervous before the surgery or think you'll struggle to lie still for that long, many clinics, including ours, can offer you a mild sedative tablets beforehand. Before you travel, make sure you have clarified all the important organizational details with your clinic. How will you pay? Which payment methods are accepted? Are there any additional fees for paying by credit card? Do you need to bring any cash? For example, for everyone traveling to us to Istanbul, you can bring up to 10,000 euro into Turkey without having to declare it. As you can see, the success of a hair transplant doesn't start on the day of surgery. It starts with proper preparation to ensure your procedure goes as smoothly as possible and creates the best conditions for a fast recovery. Even more important, however, is the period after your hair transplant. Please check out that video in the description below.